Thank you, thank you. I'm clearly touched by your love for me. Good evening, everyone. So this week it was announced that Mike Tyson will fight Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition match. I don't want to say they're past their prime, but the undercard features Joe Biden versus gentleman Jim Corbett. On a recent podcast, Obama claimed aliens were real, but he hasn't seen them. It's the same way one man describes his feet. Regarding the release of the Epstein files, Hillary Clinton said she never had a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. And the only time she met him was when he was at the end of his rope. Joe Biden's ex-husband is set to enter court and plea for charges. Meanwhile, Jill's current husband is set to enter hospice and plea for chocolate. Disney's annual Pride event canceled its 35th anniversary due to a lack of sponsors. It's a bummer, considering they had just installed glory holes in It's a Small World.
No.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle attended the NBA All-Star game. When LeBron James wanted the ball, Meghan said, "Hold on, I've got two in my purse."
Oh, very good.
That was well done. Well done.
Morocco is massacring millions of stray dogs to prepare for the 2030 World Cup soccer tournament, leading many to wonder which is worse, massacring dogs or soccer. Terrible story. Good joke, though. A NASA scientist warns there's no way to stop thousands of asteroids from striking major cities. The good news, after what Democrats have already done to them, no one will notice. More of a thought than a joke. A Florida restaurant is facing backlash after selling pizzas with iguana meat as a topping. RFK Jr. said he can't believe they'd ruined such a delicious food by adding pizza. And finally, Chicago issued a cease and desist order for a sex dungeon so they can investigate if the business will add value to the community. And one investigator has already volunteered. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, AOC flew to Munich, and boy, is her ass tired from talking out of it.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan?
You know, I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Oh. Too bad there's no swimsuit portion to this event. Well, she definitely would have beat the competition, am I right? Huh? So, that was so much stammering that even Joe Biden was yelling at the TV, "Spit it out, for Christ's sake!" She claimed she prepped for this for months. Yeah, by how? Were you completing an Epcot Center coloring book? Then she tried to bash Trump for arresting Maduro, but got her facts wrong.
It is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
Actually, Venezuela is north of the equator. But in her defense, her brain is likely south of her equator. She even tried to fact-check Rubio's speech on American cowboys.
My favorite part was when he said that American cowboys came from Spain.
I thought they came from Winnetou, but
I believe the Mexicans and descendants of African enslaved peoples would like to have a word on that.
No, Marco would like to have a word. He was right. Spain brought horses to the Americas by a conquistador named Cortez, which makes her a descendant. But who knows? Judging by her intellect, maybe she was adopted by actual horses or jackasses. But AOC was so worried by her disaster, she called the New York Times so they'd defend her. And they did, dismissing her blunders as an anomaly. This is striking. She's so used to being protected at home by the media, the first thing she did after being embarrassed abroad was run straight home to their loving arms. So how did this all happen? Well, libs have been able to survive on the fact that there are only two choices here, Democrats and Republicans, and both are treated as intellectual equals. This, despite the fact that Dems have Swalwell, Jeffries, Crockett, Harris, which is enough dumb to bring down their total IQ to the room temperature of an igloo. So their sole game plan has always been to demonize the other choice, Republicans. And with a pliant media, it worked. They could push it relentlessly, drive their constituents nuts, even to the point of committing acts of violence against cars or worse, people. They became the party of bad thoughts. The planet's dying. America is racist. ICE is Gestapo. And Republicans are to blame. It worked here. But beyond our borders, not so much. Because you have to actually know stuff. So on the world stage, this party equality disappears faster than my slacks at Club Med. With Trump in charge, the Republicans are the adults in the room. Hell, Marco Rubio lit up the place like Joy Behar holding up a match to her ass. Meanwhile, the Dems come off as teenagers, the kind that tell you everything is bad, but whose real-world experience is nil. They're the kid who comes home for Christmas and mocks Gramps for his outdated views on life, even though Gramps has done it all. He's been at war, he works, he's had many women, he's holding off hordes of angry Japanese before he was thrown out of Benihana's. But the brat's experience is playing Fortnite with a Monster Energy drink in one hand and his dick in the other. AOC in Munich was like a teen on her first day of work, bragging how that year of backpacking through Europe made her so worldly, until she realizes the coworkers she's lecturing to fled political repression and violence from Cuba or the Eastern Bloc to come here, the land of opportunity. And boy, do they love America, and by extension, Trump. Because while the Dems are the party of bad thoughts, Republicans are the party of good thoughts, who tell the world that capitalism works, hard work pays off, kids are the best, it's great to make a living, to get a lawn, a pool, 2 cars, a helicopter to shoot feral hogs. It's a great message to pursue a better life without socialists ruining it every step of the way. And that's the reason why the Dems bombed in Munich. It wasn't just about what they said, it's that many people there had heard it before. And they know it never ends well. Let's welcome!
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.